Namaste, welcome to the second module of this online certificate course on right to information. In the first module, we discussed historic background and significance of the Right to Information Act. In this module, we will be briefly discussing salient features of the Right to Information Act. You can see on the screen the copy of the Act published in the Gazette of India on 15 June 2005. So this is the short title of this act, the Right to Information Act 2005. Every law has two titles. One is short title and another long title. So this is the long title, which explains the objectives and purpose of the enactment of this act. And the date here you can see is the date of presidential assent, that is 15 June 2005. So some of the provisions came into force on 15 June 2005, and we will later see that remaining provisions came into force after 120 days. That means 12th October 2005. So the long title says all these things. The Act provides for setting out the practical regime of right to information. So that is the main aim of this law. It likes to set out the practical regime of right to information. That is uh, designation of public information officers, first applied authorities, and you can see at the bottom line here, it says Constitution of Information Commissions, that is state and central information commissions. So this completes the practical regime of right to information. And the long title also says that it wants to promote transparency and accountability in the working of public authorities. That is another aim. And citizens to secure access to information under the control of public authorities. So these are the basic aims of the Right to Information Act that we can uh, have a look at long title. And there is a preamble, very ambitious preamble. It says democracy requires an informed citizenry and transparency of information, which are vital to functioning. And there is another big aim that is to contain corruption. And one more purpose behind the enactment of the Act, that is parliamentary intention, is to hold governments and their instrumentalities accountable to the governed. So this is what we can see, empowerment of common people who can actually hold governments and their instrumentalities to account. And another para says, but there are practical issues like actually transparency may likely to conflict with the other public interest, which include efficient operations of the government. So the preamble presumes that there are certain difficulties, like it may actually affect efficient operations of the government sometimes, and fiscal resources also, because you have to spend some money, you have to make a lot of effort and time, devote time actually to implement this law. So that may actually go against the uh, resources part. And sometimes there may be a conflict with the preservation of confidentiality and other sensitive information. So the preamble recognizes all these things. So finally, preamble says it is necessary to harmonize these conflicting interests, but it is also necessary to preserve permanency of the democratic ideal. So anyhow, the law tries to balance all these conflict interest, and the law aims to balance all these interests. So we will begin the first chapter. So first chapter, section 1, subsection 1, provides the short title of this act, and it also says about the date of enforcement. So some of the provisions came into force immediately. That means date of presidential assent. That means 15 June 2005, and remaining provisions came into force after 120 days. That means 12th October 2005, on which the Right to Information Act fully came into force. And section 2, as usual, provides some definitions. So we will have a look at some key definitions. So we will straight away go to the definition of right to information uh, under section 2J. So here we have the definition of right to information. So the definition goes like this: right to information accessible under this act, which is held by or under the control of any public authority. So here we can notice very important word, very critical word to understand the philosophy of the right to information, definition of right to information, that is held. So most crucial word in the act, in the definition, is held. So for example, whenever you receive an application, the first test to be conducted by a public information officer is this: whether the public authority is holding the information or not. The public authority is holding the information, then public authority is supposed to process the request. What do you mean by process the request? That means the PIO has to take a decision whether to disclose the information or not. So here the critical word is held. As long as the public authority is holding that information, it falls under the ambit of the definition of right to information. So I would like to give an example to so that you can appreciate this test. So let us say there is a school headmaster. So she receives an application from a journalist. So application goes like this: how many students are studying in your school? Uh, in 10th class, let us say, how many students are studying in 10th class in your school? The headmaster, if she opens the register, attendance registers, she can find the number of students. That means the information requested by this application is held by some register within the school. So it qualifies the test prescribed under definition under this definition under section 2J, because the school is holding information. Now the headmaster as a PAO has to decide whether to disclose it or not. That comes under the decision making process. We will have a look at it, decision making process, after some uh, modules during the next module. First, we will confine our discussion to the test held test. So let us say there is another application received by the same headmaster, this time from an advocate. So this time that advocate wants to know this information: how many students are going to clear 10th class examinations with grade A in the academic year, forthcoming academic year. So in this case, if the headmaster verifies any register, she will not be able to find any information because they are to conduct the examination. So how do you know how many students are going to pass 10th class examination with grade A unless you conduct examination? So what does it mean? The information is not held by the school as on the date of the request, but information will be available after some future date, because after conducting examinations, they will come to know that information. But as in the date of the request, the information can be said that it is not held by the school. So this is the most important test as far as the held concept is concerned. But definition goes on. It says even information is under control. If it is not held, but it is under control of the public authority. Sometimes a private body which is under the control of a public authority may be holding that information. In such cases, the public authority is supposed to access that information. We will come across this definition under section 2F, which defines uh, information. But we'll complete the definition under section 2J now. It also says the right information includes inspection of works, documents, and records. Not only taking copies of information, citizen, a requester can also have an inspection of records, inspection of works under this act. And the applicant take notes, extract, and she can demand certified copies of any document or record. And the applicant can demand certified samples of any material. And information can be sought even in electronic mode, any electronic format, uh, printout or soft copy, whatever it may be, and in the form of diskettes, floppies, tapes, and video cassettes. So this completes the definition for right to information under section 2J. Briefly, it says if the information is held by the public authority, then it falls under the definition right to information. And right to information also includes accessing information in the format of their choice. So applicant wants that information in a soft copy. In that case, under section 2J, she can demand that information in soft copy. If the applicant wants a photocopy, she can demand that information through photocopies. So the right to information includes not only right to access information, it also includes right to access information in the format of their choice. Now we will have a look at another definition, critical definition, that is information under section 2F. So here we have the definition, section 2F. What does it say? It says information means any form, including records. So information means any material in any form. These are another two words. In addition to the first word held, there are two more keywords which need to be noted by any reader, that is material. So information means any material. So this is another condition to be qualified. So information should be it should be some material, and it can be in any form. This is the third and most important word, in any form. So for example, this is a printed material, and what you are viewing on the screen is electronic copy. So these are all material, but these are all information, various categories of information, but these are all materials and they are held in different forms, printed form or electronic form. So these are the three keywords with which you can understand, you can respond to many uh, difficult questions posed by applicants or PAOs under the right information. First and most foremost important word is held under section 2J, and second important word is material, and third keyword is form. So whenever you receive a request, you should test whether the information is held by the public authority, whether it is held in the material form or in some other form. So whatever form it is there, if it is held by the public authority, it falls under the ambit of right information. So these are the key definitions. Now we will have a look at another definition, that is public authority. So there is a lengthy definition here you can find. So public authority means any authority, body, or institution of self-government. So in a nutshell, we can say the definition of public authority in the under the Right Information Act covers all the organs of the government, that is executive from Tahsildar office to president's office, and legislature, that means Gram Panchayat to parliament, and also judiciary from first class magistrate to Supreme Court. So the law covers all the organs of the government in India. Unlike other countries, for example, America and Britain do not cover their judiciaries. Their judicial bodies are not covered by their acts, but India has somewhat strong RT legislation which also covers the judiciary. And the definition goes beyond three organs. It also covers NGOs, which are substantially financed directly or indirectly by funds provided by the appropriate government. And so, not only central government bodies, state government authorities, and even local government authorities are covered by this act, and finally, even NGOs. But let us have a look at Section 2F. We couldn't complete the discussion on Section 2F. It also says any information related to any private body which can be accessed by a public authority. Even if the public authority is able to access any information held by any private body which is under its control, then it falls under the definition of information. So in effect, we can say public authority, the law covers even private bodies to some extent if they are under the control of any public authority whose information can be sought under the Right Information Act. So with this, we complete the discussion on silent features of the Right Information Act. We will again meet in the third module. In the next module, we will be discussing obligations of public authority and most importantly, proactive disclosure under the right information. So thank you.